Welcome to the classic Mount Rushmore National Memorial. The memorial shows 4 US presidents who all played key roles in the first 150 years of the history of the United States. The mountain has gotten its name from Charles E. Rushmore, a New York lawyer and prospector who searched the mountain for minerals during the late 19th century. The history of the memorial itself started in 1923, when the historian Dwayne Robinson got the idea to promote tourism in South Dakota by creating a large sculpture on Mount Rushmore. The main sculptor, Gutzon Borglum, and his 400 workers began the work on the colossal carvings in October of 1927. It was decided that the sculpture would depict 4 US presidents who all played major parts in the preservation and expansion of the United States. I will give you some more in-depth information of these men in just a while. When the carving of the sculpture started in 1927, the first on the line was the man you can see on the far left, George Washington. George Washington was born in 1732 in Westmoreland County, Virginia. He embarked on a career as a planter and became the owner of a fairly large estate. Through his half-brother Lawrence Washington, he got involved in the military and served during the British-French War as a militia officer. After the war had ended, he quickly went back to the business life and his plantations. It was only after the British forced more and more laws over the colonies that George Washington got into politics. But when he did, he acquired a leading position right away, as he was selected as a delegate to the First Continental Congress. When the first fighting began in 1775, Washington, with his military experience, his charisma, and his reputation of being a strong patriot, was elected Commander-in-Chief for the Continental Army. Later, when the war was won, he became the first US president when he was unanimously elected in 1789. The Washington sculpture was dedicated to the public on Independence Day of 1934. Next in the line was the man you can see to the right of Washington, Thomas Jefferson. The Jefferson sculpture was originally placed to the left of Washington, not at its current right position. Halfway through the sculpting, Borglum discovered that the stone quality became worse the further in they worked. This eventually forced them to blast the Jefferson sculpture off and instead start again on the right side of Washington. If you look to the left of Washington, you will see the big hole the explosion left. So, who was Thomas Jefferson? Thomas Jefferson was born in Virginia in the year 1743. Already at the age of 9, Jefferson began studying French, Greek, and Latin. Throughout his college years, he also studied mathematics, metaphysics, and philosophy, finishing all classes with excellent grades. Thomas Jefferson was known for his diverse interests and high intelligence. After finishing his studies, Jefferson began working as a lawyer, while he at the same time became active as a Virginian politician. He protested against the new laws and acts the British rule imposed on the colonies. Jefferson argued that the colonists had the natural right to govern themselves. Soon after the outbreak of the American War of Independence, Jefferson was made responsible for creating the famous Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence is what Jefferson is most famous for. He did, however, have a rich political career, where he became a Virginian governor, later minister to France, vice president, and finally president. Jefferson died on the 4th of July, 1826. But then he could look back on a life as a large landowner, political philosopher, architect, musician, book collector, scientist, horticulturist, diplomat, inventor, and being the third President of the United States. He is by many hailed as the most intelligent and intellectual US President of all times. Jefferson's sculpture on Mount Rushmore was dedicated in 1936. The next sculpture in line was the one on the far right, the one depicting Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809 on a small farm in Hodgenville, Kentucky. He was raised in a poor home, being the son of two uneducated farmers. Abraham himself, however, quickly developed an interest in studies. While his formal education consisted of about 18 months of schooling from unofficial teachers, he still mastered the Bible, William Shakespeare's works, English history, and American history. He was very much self-educated, reading every book he could get his hands on. He soon developed a plain writing and rhetorical style that puzzled the audiences. This brought him into politics at an age of 23, when he became a member of the Whig Party, and later elected to term in the US House of Representatives in 1846. With his unorthodox rhetorical style, he made both enemies and friends, and left the politics after one term and began working as a lawyer. He later returned to politics, and this time got a much more central role, as he won the Republican Party nomination in 1860 and was elected president the same year. Lincoln's hatred for slavery made the already